consent to enter into the record an opinion piece by two governors, Eric Holcomb, Republican governor of Indiana, Spencer Cox, Republican governor of Utah, and it is an opinion piece for the Washington Post entitled "To Solve Our National Immigration Crisis, Let States Sponsor Immigrants." They call upon Congress to end the two-decade-long impasse regarding comprehensive immigration reform, and they note that we are a nation of immigrants. And I know that, Mr. Secretary, you are a political refugee, and since you came to our country seeking a better life, your parents and you, which is why most immigrants come to this country, you have spent decades as a federal prosecutor and a public servant in the United States, and I thank you for that. And of course, as the only immigrant serving in the U.S. Senate right now, I certainly understand the desire to come to, parental desire to come to this country to create a better life for themselves and their children. Certainly the case for me, and it informs what I do and why I do it. The Trump administration completed 472 executive actions related to immigration policy, many of which were punitive and cruel. In fact, there were people who said that cruelty was the intent of these policies, and who can forget the pictures of children who literally were ripped from the arms of their parents, crying for their parents in our detention facilities. And only when a court ordered reunification did the Trump administration then try to reunify these children. And it was difficult because the administration had absolutely no desire or goal to reunify these children with their parents, so they didn't keep track of the children and their parents. So these were inhumane policies, and I heard today that maybe if we reverted to those policies, that we would be solving our immigration problems. Mr. Secretary, would reverting to cruel and inhumane policies like child separation or an asylum ban be the answer?
Senator, I appreciate your remarks about why people come to this country for a better life. I appreciate your mention of my personal journey to this United States. My parents brought my sister and me here to live in a democracy. The communist regime took everything away that my father had, and it is why I have served for approximately 22 years in federal service on behalf of the United States government to give back to this country. Senator, there's a core principle of our administration. We are a nation of laws, and we are a nation of immigrants. And how we enforce our laws and the policies that we promulgate, the policies that we issue, must reflect our values. And you cite one of the most heinous policies of the prior administration, family separation, to remove young children out of the clutches of their parents in an effort to deter other individuals from coming to the United States and assert an asylum claim. I'm very proud to lead the Family Reunification Task Force that the President ordered by way of executive action, and we have reunited more than 600 of those children with their parents here in the United States. And our work is not done.
And certainly going back to those policies are not the answer. In fact, let me turn to a program that I think is better positioned to address some of the issues relating to immigration. In 2016, DHS implemented a detention alternative, the Family Case Management Program, initially for 5 years. The Trump DHS shut it down after only 1.5 years. But the data showed that this more humane program was also more cost-effective than detention, and it has an amazing compliance rate with more than 99% appearance rates at check-ins and court hearings. I understand that DHS has relaunched a program to provide case management services to some immigrants. Given the success of the Family Case Management Program, do you expect to see similar results with the new program?
Yes, I do, Senator. And in fact, we've done more than that. Just recently, I asked the Homeland Security Advisory Council, an outside body, to take a look at our alternatives to detention programs, including the case management pilot to which you refer, and to provide recommendations about what are the most humane as well as effective programs to ensure that people can comply with their legal obligations in a very, very complex immigration system that everyone agrees is fundamentally broken and in dire need of repair, and that's been the case for decades.
I think I'm really glad that you continue to emphasize the humane policies that we should be following rather than policies where cruelty seemed to be the object of the policy. Certainly, the tearing of children from the arms of their parents cannot be characterized as anything but cruel. I mentioned the op-ed that the two governors, Republican governors, wrote, and they are facing literally over 100,000 worker shortages in both of their states. We are facing a severe worker shortage in our country, and I want to quote the Chamber of Commerce, maybe the first time that I would quote Chamber of Commerce, and they said, quote, "The vast shortcomings of our legal immigration system are a key contributing factor as to why companies are struggling to hire and retain the talent they need to succeed in an increasingly competitive global marketplace," end quote. Mr. Secretary, is the worker shortage, especially in cybersecurity, for example, a security threat? And whose job is it to fix our legal immigration system?
So, Senator, it is an economic security threat. The shortage of workers. We have employers who are striving to hire, to find people who could fill jobs to contribute to our country's economic prosperity. Regrettably, our legal immigration system is not designed to meet that need of employers here in the United States, despite the fact that individuals from other countries want to come here to work, even seasonally, even temporarily, earn the money that they can bring back to their home countries and support their families there. It is precisely why in the H-2B program, the seasonal non-agricultural worker program, we allocated thousands of H-2B visas for the Central American countries of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, so that those individuals in desperate need of a better life do not have to place their lives in the hands of smugglers, take the perilous journey to our southern border, and arrive in between the ports of entry, if indeed they make it safely, but instead to fulfill the need for labor here in the United States, we can screen and vet these individuals in their home countries, and they can travel safely to the United States by air, gain lawful employment, contribute to our economy, return to their home countries with the earnings that they've made, and address fundamentally the root causes of why people travel irregularly in the first place. We just cannot seem to fix a system that everyone agrees is broken.
Mr. Secretary, you and I, as immigrants, we know why our families brought us to this country. It is to give us a better life. I came here with nothing and a single parent. And I just wish that my colleagues who talk about their own families and their grandparents, their parents being immigrants, they seem to have forgotten the struggles that they experienced to make a better life for them, and here we all are. You know, there was a time not too long ago in 2013 when we managed to get comprehensive immigration reform done. It didn't solve all of the crises that we face, but it was at least a start, and it was actually bipartisan. Some of my colleagues sitting here were very involved in doing that, and I'm thinking, why does the Chamber of Commerce have to come forward and practically beg us to pay attention to the massive worker shortage in our country? Why do two Republican governors don't want to wait around any longer for Congress, whose responsibility, I'm answering my own question now, whose responsibility it is to do comprehensive immigration reform. These two governors, Republican governors, saying, we can't wait for you guys. We would like to be able to bring immigrants to our state so that they can have the kind of strong economy that they seek for their states. So my goodness, why can't we get it done? We did it before. My time is up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I liked your testimony so much I didn't want to interrupt you, but thank you, Senator Hirono. Senator Kennedy?